Ever met someone who finds a reason to chuckle at just about anything? They manage to dig up a joke even when things are falling apart and everyone else is losing it. From the outside, you'd swear they just don't give a damn about the world. Actually, it's usually the total opposite, because that kind of humor isn't born in a happy place. That laugh was forged in survival mode. And I'm not talking about some minor daily headache. I mean the heavy stuff that completely rewires how a person sees everything around them. Those moments that show you, way too soon, that life is thin and safety can vanish. You learn people are unpredictable. And after enough of those hits, your mind starts to do something fascinating. Your brain doesn't just break, it evolves into a high-performance machine. When you live through constant pressure, your mind maps out new paths just to keep you upright. You start catching tiny vibes, reading the room in seconds, and sensing a shift before it even happens. To anyone else, it probably looks like you're just trapped in your own head. But inside that skin, it doesn't feel like overthinking. It feels like staying one step ahead. Take a simple thing like getting cut off on the highway. Most of us would go 0 to 60 in pure rage, screaming at the steering wheel. But if you've survived real storms, that little bit of traffic feels different. Rather than losing it, their brain immediately starts looking for the reason behind the chaos. They wonder if that driver is having a breakdown or racing to an emergency room. Maybe they just got some soul-crushing news and can't even see the road. It's not about letting them off the hook. It's just that your lens changes after seeing the dark. When you've walked through fire, a little smoke doesn't scare you anymore. But there's a secret side to this that nobody mentions. Because surviving doesn't just make you tough. It turns you into an absolute magnet for empathy, almost to an intense degree. Spend enough years scanning for danger, and you become an expert at spotting the hurt in someone else. You catch the things others ignore, like a voice cracking or a smile that doesn't reach the eyes. Most folks miss that split-second delay in a laugh, but you feel it like a physical weight. When you've spent a lifetime watching the clouds, you can smell a storm coming from a mile away. It's not about what they say. It's about how the room feels when they say it. Even the quiet moments start to tell you a story. See, silence isn't just empty. It has its own heavy texture. It can feel like exhaustion, or a simmering fuse, or just a deep sadness. Often, it feels like a wall someone built to hide what's really going on. If you've been through the ringer, you just feel these things in your gut without even trying. You can step into a house and instantly know if people have been fighting or laughing. While others notice the decor, you're busy picking up on the tension or the love in the air. It's basically an emotional radar system that's stuck in the on position 24/7. But there's a silver lining here, a transformation that experts call post-traumatic growth. Studies show that many people who hit rock bottom don't just bounce back to their old selves. They actually bloom into something deeper, finding a connection to life they never had before. A simple walk or a quiet sunset starts to feel like a massive gift. It's not just being sappy. It's the realization that everything could disappear at any second. These moments become sacred. But there's a darker side to this shift we rarely talk about. Even if you're wiser now, your body still remembers the chaos that made you that way. A lot of survivors live with this constant, buzzing state of high alert. Your internal alarm system is just a little too good at its job. It's not that they're living in a horror movie. It's just that their brain is always on, always watching, always mapping the room. You see it in the little things, like how they always pick the seat facing the door when you're out for dinner. They probably have 3 different backup plans for a simple weekend trip. Their minds go to what-if places that most people don't even know exist. From the outside, it looks like simple anxiety. But really, it's just a brain that learned the hard way that being ready is everything. There's another sign, too. People who've seen too much often treat their own struggles like they're nothing. You'll hear them say things like, "Oh, it wasn't a big deal. Someone else always has it worse. I'm fine." Shrugging off their own hurt becomes a reflex. It's how they survived. If you tell yourself you're okay, you can keep moving. But there's a deeper reason for the act. For many who've been through the fire, the idea of being seen as a victim feels almost like a physical threat. Being strong isn't just a choice, it's who they are now. Showing a soft spot feels dangerous, even when it's exactly what they need to heal. This whole mess of feelings really starts to show up when they try to let someone in. People who've endured a lot usually end up with 2 parts of them that don't quite match. They are fiercely loyal. They're the first ones you call at 3 in the morning, and they'll be there. But when it's their turn to need something, suddenly, they go quiet. They're the rock for everyone else. Always reliable. Always there. But asking for a hand? That's where they freeze up. You have to wonder why. It's because life taught them early on that leaning on someone else usually ends in a crash. If love was once a roller coaster, the heart doesn't just open up, it braces for the drop. It's a strange way to live, craving a real connection, but being terrified of actually needing it. That independence looks like a superpower, but it can feel like a very quiet, very lonely prison. But then there's this incredible strength that grows in the cracks. Total adaptability. They become experts at pivoting. New jobs, sudden moves, total chaos. The stuff that breaks most people doesn't faze them. They change fast because they had to. And then there's that humor. Usually pretty dark. It might sound a bit much to some, but for them, a joke is more like a shield. It's how they turn a heavy memory into something they can actually carry. When you can laugh at how messy life gets, the mess doesn't feel so overwhelming anymore. Every dark joke is a quiet way of saying, I'm still here, and you didn't win. You'll also notice a weird relationship with control. They might get really particular about the small stuff, like exactly which mug they use in the morning, or exactly where their keys go, or how the coffee is made. But when the big stuff hits the stuff that scares everyone else, they stay surprisingly cool. Huge career shifts or massive life changes, they just handle it. Why? Because they already know the big secret. You can't control the storm, so you might as well make sure your shoes are tied right. They manage what they can and let the rest burn. It's a total paradox. Tough but incredibly soft. Guarded but the most generous person you'll ever meet. They've become masters at living with two completely different truths at once. Life is a wreck and it's beautiful. It's terrifying and it's worth it. All in the same breath. But under all that grit, there's an emotion we don't talk about enough. It's a quiet kind of grief. Not for a person, but for the person they used to be. The version of them that just trusted people. The one who laughed without checking the exits first. The person who didn't have to practice what they were going to say before they said it. They just miss feeling light. They miss the version of themselves that didn't have to be so careful. That old version of them never really dies. It just evolves. They grow sharper, more aware, and act with deep intent. They crave peace because they have paid the heavy price of drama. They cherish good souls, knowing exactly how much a toxic heart can hurt. This is the hidden truth about folks who have endured way too much. Survival is just the start. They gain a profound read on people. Real grit isn't about staying unbroken. It is about rising every single time. Even if the pieces of their life no longer fit like before, eventually, their old wounds become wisdom, and their scars turn into kindness. Suddenly, without even trying, they turn into a rare kind of beacon, not because things were smooth, but because they mastered steering through storms. Now, their inner glow helps everyone else find their way through dark times. Next time you see someone oddly calm during a crisis, laughing through stress, or catching subtle vibes that everyone else misses, take a second. Keep in mind that their wisdom was never ever cheap. They have faced battles you cannot see, yet they still show up, still fight, and still choose to hope. That is not weakness. That is pure resilience.